I knew a girl who was so lovely, whose birth is very interesting because her mother desired to go back to school, and her father's side of the family said to the mother, well, you already have a child, so don't go until you have another one, so that this child has someone to keep them company, someone that they can, a friend. And that story is how I'm going to share what energy, the power of energy, and what the impact of energy, and how energy affects everything. Now, off, just off the gate, out the gate, is it out the gate? Straight out the gate, yeah. This child, the bond between the mother and child is entirely compromised. Because though the mother would have had this child perhaps down the line, or maybe a different child, who knows? This becomes the child that put brakes on her dreams. And to the sibling before her, whom she was essentially birthed as a toy for, the energy there is that you are never meant to surpass me because you were made for me. What do those relationships look like as time goes on? The mother who did not want to have the child, and that child, what does that look like? The child then subsequently, because children choose their parents. I remember when I was shown this about how we choose our parents, and everyone comes here saying, I want to learn this, I want to get this right, I want to do this. And each child is coming here for their own reasons, and they say, okay, I will choose that one and help her with this, and I will choose him and help him with this, and then in turn, I will get this that I need. It is for this reason why sometimes certain children choose more than one mom, more than one dad. Sometimes the person who births you is not the one meant to raise you, because that's not the one you chose for that reason. But because we come into the world that has given meaning to so many things, a woman must birth children. Not every woman comes to earth to birth children. Every woman's a mother, but not every woman comes to birth children. But we come from a history where our agency, be it as a woman, as a person of color, or as a certain nation, but our agency has largely been taken from us. And so we come from mothers that often did not choose to be our mothers in a birthing way. Sometimes we come from mothers that are not even heterosexual, but got married anyway. Same thing with men. I meet a lot of couples where you can clearly see that this is a compromise, that two people who perhaps were great friends or not decided that the world is like this and we won't thrive in this world if we are who we are, and so let's get married. You can live your life, I'll live mine. It's very common. Very, very common. It's the same thing why I won't touch on this a lot because it will just veer me off, but about why racism causes a lot of loneliness. Because you can't love who you love. So, to those kids, that girl who then grew up to have an amazing career, and thus this space, that crack of resentment from her mother to her just kept getting bigger, because it's almost as though she stole the success that would have been her mother's. And then what becomes of her and her sister? for whom she was born to be a toy. And everyone say, oh, well, we're talking about energy. What created this being? Sometimes what creates a being is no conversation at all, and they say it's a mistake, which is no such thing. Sometimes people actually had a conversation. Sometimes people tried and tried for so long and kept trying. But what she found as she was growing up, and because her relationship with her mother was so strained, was so difficult, so far, I would even go so far as to say that she was a cruel mother. And it does not make her a bad person, because she's a great mother to the other kids. And she's a lovely woman. But this child chose her to birth her. And consistently throughout her life, she would meet women of her mother's age who thought she was the perfect daughter. But so desperate, she wanted this love to come from a certain person, this approval to come from a certain person. She could not realize that she is getting it from her mother. Family is lovely. Family is great. But we don't always choose family because we're meant to die on that hill, so to speak. Sometimes it's precisely because you have to break away from your family that you chose them. Because no child deserves to be punished for coming to being. It is not that child's responsibility. At the same time, one cannot fault the mother, because what rights did she have in that time? A lot of mothers born in the 50s, early 60s were the ones who came into a reality where everyone said it is possible for them. It is possible for them. But so turned out it wasn't so possible. Somewhat so, but minimally. Teller, secretary, that sort of thing. And then you have all these children that started to then really show that it is possible. And when you have someone who perhaps even got married without wanting to, or perhaps romanticized the idea of marriage to a point that when they were in it, it just turned out to be disappointing. And everyone can attest to this. When you are raised by mothers who are unable to fulfill themselves in the ways that they feel they would have fully occupied space within the world, and then to have children who become all of that and more, is either the greatest thing or the worst thing. And it's such a difficult battle within the parent, because you must love this child. This is your child. But at the same time, you don't like them. If you have a great family and you chose them to be there, then great. Sometimes if your parent was a lawyer and you are passionate about law, you probably chose the family for that reason. Sometimes you chose the family precisely because he's passionate about law and you are not, and he wants you to become that. And so your whole thing is about striking out on your own. Imagine what would happen to racism if children just spoke up and actually force people to be different. But alas, we love our mothers. We're all mothers. We're all fathers, and we welcome this role. But do what is best and right for you, and allow her to do that which is best and right for her. That's how we all become. Thank you for your time.